Hello everyone, welcome to a week in my life. This week I'm spending it outside of my home office in a cruise that is heading to Alaska. So not your conventional home office, but the reality is that I'm not always working from a ship traveling the Pacific Ocean.
But today it's different.
As a freelancer, a lot of the times I work away from home. Most of my work as a freelance interior designer can be done remotely, and today I happen to be in paradise.
But what brought me here, and I'm not talking about what brought me to Alaska, how did I end up as a freelance interior designer?
I actually used to work for an interior design company since I was in interior design school. So I actually had a normal 9-to-5 job, working in a firm, working in different types of projects, and I actually really enjoy that job until one day I felt that my potential was going to waste. So let me explain. As a junior interior designer, I started working in a company. I was doing a lot of repetitive tasks and a lot of technical stuff, which I was okay with because I knew that I was just a junior interior designer and I had no clue about how things worked. But the problem was not that. The problem was that even after working there for a few years, I started to realize that things didn't change at all, and I still didn't get the chance to work in the creative part of the job. And this started to get to my nerves because the main reason that I applied to interior design school, the main reason that I studied this career was to be creative, was because I think I am a creative person and I wanted to put that to use. So at this point, I knew that there was something wrong with either this job or with the industry. And the problem was that I didn't really know if this was going to be my job as an interior designer in every job, and I didn't really have anyone to ask about it. So what happened next? So before I continue with my story, I need to get off this cruise because we have just arrived to Alaska. So come with me.
But really, what happened next?
So at the time, I wasn't really happy and I wasn't really fulfilled with my job. So the only way for me to be creative was to make YouTube videos. So at the time, I started my YouTube channel and I started to make videos for you guys a while back. And this was really the only way that I could be creative, which is the reason that I started making videos, because I really enjoyed sharing my journey with you. And it really allowed me to push my boundaries and to be creative, which is what I initially wanted to do.
So I promised to finish this story, but before that, I really need to get some work done.
Okay, so I just finished some work. I had a meeting with a client, of course that it was online, and I also am working on something really special that I cannot yet share this with you. I'm so sorry, but soon you will be able to know all about it. If you want to get more updates on that, make sure that you follow me on my social media. But yeah, I had those two things to do early in the morning. A lot of people ask me if it's better to be a freelance interior designer, if it's easier. And I want to talk about some misconceptions about being in the freelance business. A lot of people think that not having a 9-to-5 makes this a super easy job and we get to have all this freedom. And although part of that is true, in reality, as a freelancer, I work way more hours than I would ever work if I was working for a company and, going to a 9 to 5. The reason for that is that I have to build everything from scratch. I have to get my own clients. I have to reach out to people. I have to grow my business, and everything I've done myself. I do not have a network, or my family is not into the architecture and interior design business. I do not have that. So everything I'm building off the ground and from scratch. So this is normally how my day would start. Even if I am in Alaska or anywhere in the world, I start off my day with some work, catching up with emails. If I have a client meeting, I normally put those meetings very early in the morning. Sometimes I do have clients that are on the other side of the planet, so I have to have like very early meetings in the morning. And after that, I, go have my breakfast, and then I do some more work. So it's basically like I'm always working. I do work very early in the morning, and I do work very late at night. Is it healthy? I try it to be healthy, but to be honest, sometimes it's just too many hours that I'm working during the day. But I like it. There is cons and pros, and it's just part of being in this business. So right now I'm just gonna head down to the restaurant because I am getting very, very hungry, and we need to eat something before we continue the day. Come with me. Okay guys, so I am back here in my room. I did take a shower after having breakfast and doing some more design work on my iPad. And I wanted to keep talking to you about how I ended up in the freelance business. Remember that I told you that I was doing these YouTube videos, and so I really liked that because since I didn't get a chance to be creative where I was working at, making these videos just, was kind of like my escape from that routine that I didn't like at work. So I started to make these YouTube videos for you until one day I got a client from social media. And I was pretty much blown away by this because I never thought that this could ever happen. And so I started to work with this person, and from there I thought that the sky was the limit, and I didn't really have to keep doing a 9 to 5. And again, if you are thinking of going this route, I just want to say that it's not like it's going to be easy. I was making videos for years, and it's already been like 5 years since I have been making videos. I have been very consistent on YouTube, on Instagram lately, and it's just a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of time, a lot of patience, a lot of trial and error until you find your audience, until you reach people who want to work with you. So it's definitely not something that is for everybody, but I will tell you that it is 100% doable if that's something that you want to do. But there is a path to it, and it's a longer path than working for someone else. So basically I got this client from social media, and I started to try to grow my audience, grow my social media exposure. And that's how it all started to build up. So my tips for you if you want to get into the freelance business in interior design is, number one, do not be afraid of being on social media. No one really cares. In the beginning, I was like really shy to put myself out there. I had like 10 followers on my accounts, and it was all my family. But eventually, if your content is good, if you are showing value to the people, then those clients will start coming, and people will start to trust in you and to want to work with you. Number one, definitely you want to be on social media. So there is a lot of things that you can do in the field of interior design and architecture. I first started to do educational videos, and then that led to me doing mentorships for other students and online courses, design clients. So the possibilities really are endless. So you definitely want to experiment with many different things depending on what you want to focus on, and start to put yourself out there in the world of social media. Again, for me, I never had like a strong network coming from my family or friends. None of my parents are architects, nor they are in this field whatsoever. So for me, the only way to reach people was definitely gonna be social media. And this was the only route that I could take to grow my business. So I do want to continue with this story, but before we do that, I do want to take you with me and tour this cruise a little bit. It is so amazing. The interior design in this cruise is incredible. And I don't know if you knew, but there are interior designers who specialize in this type of interior design, which is creating interiors for cruises, for boats, and I just find it so fascinating. I think the amount of skill that you have to be able to specialize in this type of interiors, because at the end of the day they are interiors, is super high, but at the same time super fascinating. So I'll go back inside, I'll do a tour of my room, and then we will go to many different places within this cruise so that you can look at the interior design, how everything is so beautiful here, and then I will continue my story after that. Come with me. Okay guys, so this is the room that I'm staying in. So basically, it's super tiny. Everything is so tiny and like really, really cute. So let me show you here. So imagine like when people design this, like this is such a little tiny drawer. And we have some of them here. Here on the bathroom, we have like a little bit of storage. And we have some up there. It's very efficient though. We have here the shower. You will see that in interiors that are in cruises, normally everything is kind of like rounded so that you do not hit yourself with sharp corners. So for example here, the shower, it's this like half moon shape, and then you close it like that. Again, it's super, super tiny. And here you have the bed. So you've got a queen size bed. You have here some sconces that you can turn on. You have this little tiny nightstand, like look at the size of that. You have this little closet here, storage up there. When designing this type of interiors, like you have to be super smart to put storage where it's not in the way, it's not obstructing things. And there you have a couch, and there's a bed that goes down like that. We're not gonna do that, actually, let me show you. So you just pull that down, and then you have another bed there. And when you bring that up, oops, you can actually kind of like bring this up, and then it'll hide there on that hole in the ceiling. So it's pretty cool. But something that is definitely my favorite part of this, here you have storage, and again you have like these rounded corners to not hit yourself when you are walking, because again, like this space is so tiny. And here you have some storage for like magazines or books. Here you have those drawers. You have a cooler down there. And you have here a little area for makeup and whatnot. You of course have blackout blinds for night. And then here you have the Pacific Ocean. We are right now heading to some island somewhere in Alaska. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys, for this little room tour. So let's go and check out the rest of the cruise. I won't be able to tour everything. There's so many restaurants, rooms, casino. You have like a pool. You have 2 pools. You have jacuzzi. You have spa. Everything is just so stunning. But I will show you the rooms that I am absolutely in love with, because they are just so cool. The interior design is on a whole different level. Of course that I've been taking pictures of everything for inspiration, for, you know, documenting and keep learning about interior design on boats. So let's go, guys, come with me. Okay, so first off we have a theater, which is pretty amazing for a cruise. So you've got ocean view from almost every room within the cruise. And then this is probably like the coolest Right now they are setting up the stage because there's going to be like a performance. And on every corner there's like art, there's sculptures, very cool stuff. And all of these paintings are for sale. Normally there's auction for them, so you can imagine how much they are sold at. There's so many paintings from famous artists. You may recognize this one from the designer in Miami that I don't remember the name of. And of course you also have luxury shops. So you've got like Louis Vuitton and many others. And like look at the detail for the interior design. Like you've got like ceiling detail, columns, lighting. This is all interior design. Like you've got this really cool L-shaped table, something that I've never seen before. And you've got a bar. This reminds me of the time that I designed a bar in interior design school. You've got snacks. Look at the marble top. It actually looks like granite. You've got that lighting on the ceiling. You have a table lamp. So much lighting. So cool. Oh, so this is one of my favorite spots. So it is a bar. Like, can we look at the lighting, the textures, the wallpaper, the flooring? Like, can we have a moment here, please? Like, oh guys, it's, oh my god, like, there's a piano there. That detail. This huge vase. Like, is it needed there? No, but it looks cool.
So you probably guessed it, I am working again. As you probably already saw, the reality of my life as a freelance interior designer is that I'm always working on the go, which is why for me it's very important to carry my iPad around. Sometimes I do bring my computer to my trips, but I have found that the iPad has everything that I need. I have my software there, I have Sketchup, Morpholio, I have my notes, I can, open up design presentations and even go on Zoom meetings with my clients. One of the things that I absolutely love about going to new places is that although I'm always working, I also get to experience new cultures, new traditions, new people, and this is so important in the world of design and architecture.